You know, I was completely unaware that the NHL was the only sport on Election Day in the U.S. It made sense. I'm like, wow, thanks so much for sharing my video, guys. You clicked, you liked, and I really owe it to you. I got to give you a big thank you, round of applause. No, it turns out that the NHL was the only sport on. So people who would normally scoff at hockey, they place hockey number 4. No, they go, no, USC's number 4. You're number 8 on the list. Normal people who disregard hockey and kick it to the back, they made their way to my video. So if there was ever a night, that I was somewhat happy to screw you, and I know you're not happy about it, but just to know that there's a contingent of people that they shit on hockey amongst other groups, and I screwed them. There is a sick part of me. There is the bad Ebenezer Scrooge that is happy that it happened. The regular sniffers, hey, plenty of good days to be had. We've had plenty. We'll continue to have plenty, including some here on a Thursday. We got NFL, which is just constant raking every single week. It's just a constant uptick. And we got the NHL as well. And if you're wondering, like, oh my God, but what about the Wednesday NHL picks? Hey, look, you can't play Connor Hellebuck every single night. You have to have some planned rest in there. However, maybe I can trickle this one out to you in time for Wednesday night because, this is a double-edged sword when it comes to early sniffs. The one side is I get you those early prices, and the early sniff always catches the fair price. But the other side of that double-edged sword is if you get a late upload, I can absorb some information that trickled out late throughout the day. And as that information trickles out, so does those Snakeonomics plays. And we have a clear case of that in this late game, a great late game between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. We learned that out of nowhere, he went from potentially being on the IR for 3 weeks to into your lineups and into your sportsbooks cards on this Wednesday. That's Connor McDavid. He's back. He's on the top line. And you would assume it's going to be, he's going to just go with Hyman and Nugent Hopkins, right? No, incorrect. We have a random promotion, and we're getting a plus 110 on a player playing alongside Hyman and McDavid, and that's Jeff Skinner. And if somebody's playing alongside Connor McDavid, and you could even say Hyman, I think that's worthy of a plus money sniff. This is not like the days where it used to be, McDavid and Draisaitl and Zach Kassian throwing a bomb. We're talking about a former 30, 40 goal scorer in Jeff Skinner. If he can't sneak a point in tonight, that's a pretty bad sign. So that's a great play right there. But there are always two sides to that Harvey Dent two-faced coin. And if Skinner's on that first line, who's on that third line? That's right, somebody who I would have always had there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the scam star, the scam 100-point star, alongside Jason Robertson. And his under half of a point is plus 110. So those are two great Snakeonomics plays for Wednesday. But in all honesty, if you guys want to scratch both of those out, I'm cool with it because I absolutely love the line combo play between Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. You never get to use McDavid in a 1.1 thing, ever. You're always immediately priced out. On this night, because the way the Oilers have been playing and the way the prices are working out, you can take both of them and you get the combo at minus 125. And I know you may not think that's, I don't take anything that starts with minus. You never get a chance to see McDavid in your line combos for a singular point. So I think that's a great play. And if you're greedy, you need to see a plus next to it, then add Zach Hyman in for 3+ shots on goal. He's hit this in the last 2. He scored 2 games ago. And when a guy like Zach Hyman scores once, he starts to pile on the shots. So those are some great plays in my personal opinion for that Wednesday night game. But now let's go to the gridiron and then we'll return back to the ice. The gridiron where things just continue to work out in our favor. Yet another winning week. Tons of great sniffs. You saw me nervous about the Worthy play, and that's why I was nervous about it. But regardless, we still won the other 2. Winning Monday, winning Week 9. We're on to Week 10. We got the Ravens hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, and I can already tell you, you hated the Jets plays last Thursday, and you're going to hate the direction I'm taking it this Thursday. But that's the beautiful thing. I don't watch any videos. I don't know what anybody's saying. I don't give a rat's ass because it goes from my nose to that field and then to your ears in your living room. And what I think is going to happen in this game, I don't know if My thought is, everyone, did you see how many points the Bengals scored? Just driving down the field, 5 touchdowns, Joe Burrow. Lamar, you're going to take any sort of under on a back-to-back MVP? Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going with the under in the game. I'm going with the under in the game between all those points that were scored last week. This is a division game between two teams who have played many lower-scoring close games in the past. Yes, we had that first game a couple weeks back that was wild, back and forth. Joe Burrow, 500 yards, all those touchdowns. There's a huge difference. Every single game that Joe Burrow starts, that T. Higgins isn't out there alongside Jamar Chase, they have to take a different approach. Now, you can point to that one singular game last week and say, but he threw 5 touchdowns. What if something like that happens? It hasn't happened. Other than that, you even go look the previous week against the Eagles. Any sort of game that T. Higgins hasn't played in, look at the first couple weeks of the season. Look against the Patriots. Look against the Chiefs. When Higgins came back, okay, now they're moving the ball. They have two stars, frees everything up for everybody else. But that's not going to be the case. When you think about how much is on the line in this game, I think this one stays, I don't even have to say low scoring. It can be a high scoring game and still go under. So I gave you the Jets last week. You scoffed. I'm giving you the under in the Bengals and the Ravens this week. Let's see if you scoff. But if you peel back the layers, you know, that's a pizzeria pick. I try to give you guys some pizza here early in November. Let's get you some player props, kind of my end of the spectrum. And it ties right back to what I just said. Joe Burrow, without T. Higgins, he doesn't throw for these 350-yard games. It just doesn't happen like that. On the road, in particular, in Baltimore, I think one time maybe he went off there, and it's obviously when he had his full complement of receivers. Without T. Higgins, and he's doubtful in this game, I don't see him going over. I was going to take his passing total, but I got a little nudge from the outlier play because it's right in line with mine. I believe every single game, Joe Burrow has stayed under 280.5 rushing plus passing. To me, that's not even a difficult choice. He's going to have to get to 300 yards without T. Higgins. So whether you want to say Gesicki and Chase, but it makes it so much easier for them to figure out how to not allow the big plays without Higgins out on that field to open things up for Chase. We will see, because I understand how bad the Ravens' pass defense is, but always remember, when a team like the Ravens gets up a ton, they give a ton underneath as well, and it skews all those passing stats. So give me that under on Burrow passing and rushing. And then a play that I really like, C.Brown over 22.5 receiving yards. This guy got 100% of the running back opportunities last game. Zach Moss, he's going to be out pretty much until the end of the season, so maybe he'll be back for the playoffs. And I know what you're thinking, but they traded for Khalil Herbert. Okay, they traded for Khalil Herbert. Do you want to know what Khalil Herbert isn't? And I'll guarantee you, any sort of passing down back. That is the polar opposite of what he does. So despite the fact you can forget about that, how much is he going to play on a few short days? If he's coming in, you know what they're doing. We got to spell C.Brown, run up the middle, get the hell off the field. I'm going with those receiving yards in a game where the Bengals are like almost touchdown underdogs. So if they are trailing, a couple little dinks. You look at Burrow playing so far this year. These running backs are catching passes. In fact, C.Brown caught 5 last week, and they weren't trailing. So imagine if they're trailing this week, which is why my last sniff will be, let's try a little ladder. Give me the 4 catches, give me the 5 catches, and give me the 6 catches for C.Brown. And that's what I have for you on a delightful Thursday night football. See, sometimes I have the sniffs, but other games, it's like, oh, that looks awful. This one, I have a few sniffs in, so we will see how it goes. And then we're going to go back to the ice on Thursday. It's just a little double here. We're going to start once again with those New York Islanders. I'm just trying to target them because they're missing half of their defensemen. Half of the defensemen on the Islanders are AHLers. They're having to play Pulock and Dobson 28, 30 minutes a game, which, by the way, when teams have to do that, when they have to play a defenseman millions of minutes, it's never a bad idea to take the over on shots on goal for someone who's getting an absurd amount of minutes, but that shots on goal number has been built by the time that hasn't been the absurd amount of minutes. So that's one thing just to pay attention to right there. The other, Ottawa, over 3.5 team total, plus 110. That's something that I can absolutely get behind. When you're at home, you have the benefit of last change, so those 3 real defensemen that the Islanders have, they'll actually be able to avoid them as much as possible. And for some weird reason, Sorokin played back-to-back games despite having the back surgery. And yeah, I'm losing a little sleep over that. So we should get Varlamov, who's been struggling. 3 AHL defensemen on the road where they can't try to nurse everything with last change. I like the over 3.5 goals for the Ottawa Senators. And obviously a great combo for that game will be Norris Batherson. You will get a pretty good price on them because they haven't produced in the last 2 games. You could obviously always go Tkachuk and Stützle, but I know you're not getting a good price on them. So that's what I like in that Isles game. And then here comes another one you might scoff at. You have Winnipeg, who's the hottest team in the league, best team in the league. We've seen them atop the standings for 2 straight years early in the year. Well, they have a chance to semi-show us something against the Colorado Avalanche, who absolutely destroyed them during the playoffs. They massacred them. And you would think Winnipeg would like to send some sort of statement in this game. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll do the thing that they should have done all playoffs long and hold a team to 2 or fewer at home. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm taking them to hold the Colorado Avalanche. Hold your breath, because I know everybody loves taking the Avalanche. Did you see all the goals they scored the other? I did see all those goals they scored the other night. Let's see if they can do it up there in Winnipeg. You know I like taking teams coming off a shutout. More importantly, you know I like teams who are embarrassed by a team in the playoffs, that first home game against that team that eliminated them. And how about taking a team against another team who just lost Cale Makar? So yes, they just got back Lehkonen. They will not have Makar running the point on that power play. So now you're talking about no Nichushkin, you're talking about no Drouin, and now no Makar. So you'll have one forward line, congratulations, and now you'll have to use Taves or Girard. And if they don't have that power play to pick things up for them, they've been having trouble scoring regardless. You remove Makar from that against a team like Winnipeg, who we got that under half of a point on Schmaltz. I may go under half of a point on Lehkonen here as well. But the under 2.5 team total, which you will scoff at, there's rhyme, there's reason. It's not coming out of left field. I'll take the under 2.5 goals for the Colorado Avalanche. Now, the other night, I thought the Blues could be a potential upset when they played the Lightning, and the Lightning didn't have Braden Point. Matter of fact, as long as Braden Point's not in that lineup, you know, offense might start to become an issue, because that has more or less been a one-line team, and then when you have to line juggle, but that's beside the fact. The Blues are coming off back-to-back home wins versus the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. When you're on a little run like that, I kind of look and see what you got over there. Is there anything I can kind of borrow from you over here? Is there anything good? Anything good that lineup? Well, Neighbors and Buchnevich have been doing nothing together. So what we've seen is a slight power play 1 demotion. We got Neighbors sent down to power play 2 in favor of Brayden Schenn, who happens to play with Jordan Kyrou. We should be getting a good price on Schenn. I haven't seen it yet. I will take Schenn, and if Schenn is anything more than minus 110, then take him with Jordan Kyrou in a game against the Utah Hockey Club, who, when they're giving up goals, as you saw against Winnipeg, as you've seen a bunch of times this year, they tend to give them up in bunches. So I'm looking for St. Louis player props here. Give me half of a point for Brayden Schenn and the line combo with Kyrou and Schenn. And that's what I have for you here. Wednesday night into Thursday night football, hockey, a lot of stuff shoved into one video. But if you want anything else, come over to the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Andy Francess. That's where I'll communicate things to you. That's where I'll post picks if I can't get picks up earlier that day and whatnot. That's where I post weekend stuff. That's where the sniffers are all ripping the craziest parlays you've ever seen in your life. Hopefully I see you there. If not, come on, give a guy a couple clicks. Give me a click here, a click there. You click, I sniff, subscribe, like, and notifications. If there's a new button I don't know about, hit that. And I will see you tomorrow for some Friday sniffs. Take it easy.